Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome to our Sunrise Project call once again. So happy that you are all here with us this morning in this safe space filled with such love and good energy and our desire for ourselves to heal and starting with ourselves and also our families. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And oh, I'm so excited to have Lisa McClendon back with us this morning. She was with us in December and was just phenomenal, blew us all away. She is an international award-winning recording artist who emerged on the music scene in 2002, reshaping gospel music with her unique blend of soul and jazz, earning her the title of the Queen of Gospel Neo Soul. And I love that. It's such a incredible fusion of music. Lisa currently serves in the community as an expressive arts educator, combining her passion for the arts and mental well-being through Ye's Village, a Lisa McClendon expressive arts community. And oh my gosh, I can't wait for you to share. I just cannot wait because I loved what you shared in December, and we get more of that in a moment. A little bit about Ye's Village. Ye's Village is a youth-centered program that creates a vibrant space where the arts are used to help young people grow in academic excellence, social skills, and healthy mental wellness, while equipping them with the leadership skills they need to lead with confidence and purpose. Ye's Village utilizes various art modalities, including vocal performance, dramatization, visual arts, creative writing, and movement to support social and emotional development. Lisa also serves as brand ambassador for This Is My Brave, an organization dedicated to using storytelling to bring awareness to and provide support for mental illness. Her work with Ye's Village and This Is My Brave reflects her commitment to fostering resilience, self-expression, and community transformation through the arts. Continuing to travel the world as a singer and songwriter, Lisa brings uplifting and soulful music that inspires and restores the spirit. And to hear more about and to learn more about Ye's Village, you can check her out at yayesvillage.org. And I'll put that link in the chat in a second. So welcome back, Lisa. We're so happy to have you here with us, coming in from Tampa, Florida. So thank you for joining us this morning.
Yes, morning, ladies.
And I know this morning's topic is fragility, and it's all about the myth of pain and suffering. And so we're going to talk this morning about how, as we do, all of us have some sort of emotional weight, and we all have something going on in our lives. And we were talking earlier about that, how everyone has something that they're dealing with. It could be an illness, it could be our children and what's happening with our children, it could be ourselves, and something that we're struggling with. And so our conversation this morning is about fragility and talking about how this doesn't define us and whatever we're going through is not a definition of who we are. And so I want to start by first having you share a little bit about you before we jump into the topic of fragility and how that really is a myth of pain and suffering. So can you share who you are, a little bit more of your background?
All
And
right.
again, thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here again. So a good, great morning, ladies. Happy sunrise. So I am
Yes.
McClendon. I am a singer, songwriter. I've been in the music industry. Well, I was in the music industry. She's 25 plus years. I say it that way because I'm not necessarily in the industry, but I am still a singer. And I've taken my love for the arts and kind of nestled it in the community of serving students through our nonprofit Ye's Village Expressive Arts community. And that idea came about when I also discovered my love for psychology and how psychology and being in school for psychology saved my whole life, y'all. Like my whole life was flipped
Mm,
upside down, turned around. God just came rescuing me on the carpet.
yes.
Through school, I just had no idea what I was in for. And so just seeing how much it helped me, I was like, I gotta, bring this along with the arts because I learned that there's a whole community of arts that is used to address mental health and physical health.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just bring those two worlds in the community with children and women in general. And I just recently started coming back into music, which is my happy place as well.
Yes.
And so I'm excited to be back in that space as well. And again, I'm based here in Florida. Y'all, it's cooling off. God is good. It is not 110 degrees anymore.
Yeah.
We're down to 91.
That's fabulous. That
Yeah, I'm
sounds great.
excited to be
It's
here.
a blessing. So thank you for sharing that. And I know you are grounded and creative. It's creativity, And so this morning, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what role creativity and the creative process can play in helping us process our fragility, and I looked up fragility, the definition, and it was interesting because it can be physical fragility, weakness, frailty, delicacy, brittleness, or flimsiness. It could also be insecurity,
Mhm.
instability, volatility, precariousness,
Right.
even vulnerability, which I view vulnerability as a great strength and a superpower. Um, so I'd love for you to talk about fragility and the role, the creative process, and how you are as a creative being. How does that help you, and how can it help us with our own fragility?
So I'm going to approach creativity in a way that we may have you ladies may not have thought me bringing it. So when I
Mm-hmm.
was thinking about and for me I use the word fragile because I feel like it's a in your face, like
Mm-hmm.
for me I needed it to be in my face. Fragility is so
Mm-hmm.
soft and loving
Uh-huh.
and and for me I was like, no, let's deal with fragile. Like, what is that? And so
Mm-hmm.
I am in a creative space, but something that I've recently discovered is that art is so powerful.
Yes.
God is so amazing that I'm learning that art alone is not enough.
Mm.
The other side of creativity is the creativity of community,
Yes.
which is what makes this space so amazing. And so when I was thinking about fragility and my art, and the reason why I say that is because I was one of my students, we were in a drumming class, and I was because I'm always transparent with them, and I was sharing with them about how that morning and woken up with a with strong anxiety. Like it was just one of those mornings, and I
Yeah.
just sit there and let it ride its course. And so one of my students said, "Well, Miss Lisa, what about music? You teach kids stuff, and they're gonna bring it back to you, right?" And he's like, "What about
Mm-hmm.
music? You teach us to use music." And it works, drumming. I think I shared last time with you ladies that I learned by accident how drumming
Mm.
helps navigate anxiety. The drumming vibration, the vibes, actually releases the vagus nerve and allows us to break that hold of anxiety. And I wish I would have been known that, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he brought that up, and I kind of laughed it off. But in that moment, I didn't want to see a painting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to hear a song. I needed to hug somebody.
Mm.
I needed my son or my daughter to come out of that room and just give me a hug. And I'm learning that art is also community. Like
Mm.
I think I didn't necessarily dismiss it, but I just never thought about it that way. Like I always think
Mhm,
about that scripture that says there's safety in the multitude of counsel, or forsake not the assembly. We always, I know me growing up used to always hear that as it related to church, and you better be in church, you better go to church. And I'm like, no,
mhm,
no, no, that's not what that is, because there hasn't always been an institution of church. And that scripture
mm,
has been, that's been said. But it's the art of relationships, it's the art of sisterhood, it's the art of
mhm.
family, it's the art of romance, it's that art of, in my time of being fragile, I need you.
Right,
I need to be able to be on a call like this and know that I'm not the only one that has a had a bad hair
right,
how
as
we
we
talked
talked
about,
earlier. Uh-huh,
or a
uh-huh.
bad job experience. And I think that's the beauty of art. Like when I'm going to an art gallery, or when I am doing a creative piece and people
Yes,
community and appreciate it together, we have to learn to appreciate human the human experience together.
right,
And I
right.
think that's where that's where the fragile concept came to me. Like, you know what, we do have moments of fragility, as you were sharing,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mm-hmm.
the myth is that that pain and that suffering doesn't have to be so daunting when we don't do it in isolation.
Right. And the part of vulnerability, I love your thoughts on this. I have a very I was talking with my mom about it because she still says, I think you share too much. And I said, you know what? I think sharing for me is a part of my healing process. And it's part of how I help other people realize they're not alone. And that's why Sunrise was born almost 6 years ago. It was like I felt alone. So
Right.
I'd love for your perspective on, vulnerability as a part of, how can we view it as a strength versus a weakness, And I was smiling, thinking about my mom was just very private, which is different. So I said, let's just agree to be different. That's okay, But I think sharing what is vulnerable, being vulnerable, I think is powerful. I love your perspective on that too. Vulnerability, how should we view that and embrace it?
I remember my I want to say yeah, no, my first album, My Diary of Life,
Hmm.
which I believe is one of my most successful albums. And
Hmm.
to this day, like as recently as yesterday, I don't know how I missed all of these DMs. There was one guy in particular, he was on a train in New York. That's what he said. And he said, I'm literally sitting on the train and I remember, he said, in your song from My Diary of Life came to mind. I remember being
Mm.
3 years old and my dad playing your song.
Oh, wow.
That was such a vulnerable album. And I remember when I wrote that album, I would write that album based on hearing conversations of other people's vulnerability and me going, oh, wow, I'm not the only one.
Right.
It was like a domino effect. Their ability to be vulnerable allowed me to be free enough to write my own story by seeing
Yes.
them having the strength to share their story, to now it translating, or now it being channeled or funneled to this little 3-year-old kid, well, to this dad
Wow.
who's playing the
Yes.
guitar, that gets to this 3-year-old kids, where 20 plus years later he's riding on the train and he remembers, out of all these albums in the world, he remembers that album.
That's amazing because it touched him.
It, and I mean, my background is Christianity, so that's when I talk spirituality, that what resonates with me mostly. And so I'm thinking about, we know all Jesus business, all
Hmm.
of it, like all the disciples' business, all of the
Hmm.
women, everybody's business is in the Bible. And so when
Hmm.
I read the Bible, I'm going, oh, it's not just me. Oh,
It's
it's not.
not just me.
So I get it. I think that it's not even just that time. I think some people, it's said because we want to protect people, because there are people who do, they try to use your story as a way
Hmm.
to get at you or come for you. But when
Hmm.
you can use it as a strength, no one can ever take your story and use it as a weapon.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And they can see themselves. I want to go back to when you talked about your son and your daughter,
Yeah.
and sometimes you just need a hug from your son or your daughter. What if your son or your daughter is not, in that space where either you want to hug them or they want to hug you because you're dealing with something?
That happens.
Um, it happens often. So what do you do in those situations? How have you dealt with that with your children?
I mean, my kids are my for first of all, my kids are not kids; they're adults, like real
I
adults.
know. Right. Right.
So that to that point is, you're right. They are not here because they have their own lives. Like I'm looking at one right now who's wanting me to kiss the door. He's headed out. Um,
Awesome.
and so there are times that they're not here, and I'm a single woman. Oh, the single lady.
Mhm.
Oh, the single lady. It's like,
Yes, 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 yes.
um, you know,
Mhm.
it's that good girlfriend calling. I think I saw her. I'm gonna call her out if she don't mind. I'm gonna try not to cry, and this is gonna be my vulnerable moment.
That's okay.
I
That's
think I saw
okay.
my girlfriend on with us, but like being able to call my good girlfriend Alethea, and she and I don't, we always say this, like we don't talk all the time, but when we do, or when we
Yes.
just in the heart of, it's like that's why
Yes.
community is important. Like, okay, I can't
That's
get to
right.
my son or my daughter. Can I call a good girlfriend? You know, can I is there someone I can go and have that conversation with? And I do. I have some really
Mhm.
good, great girlfriends that I can call and that I can lay something very intimate at their feet,
Mm.
and
Yes.
I know it's gonna stay there.
That's right. You know it's gonna stay there. And it's so interesting. I have people call me all the time, and I have a dear friend who's on too. I see her initials, Deborah, but that is my, I'll call and say, "Girl, this just happened," and she's like a rock. She listens and understands and prays for me, and so many people on this call, same, similar, Dee and Dr. Vicky, and so many. I think that's so important, and having that village or having a tribe, even if it's one person, it whoever that is. And
Yeah.
also looking at the positives when, like, you just kissed your son and said bye with a big bright smile. He saw that and felt that, even when there might be a challenge, it's like making sure they know that you love them despite of
Mhm.
despite whatever is happening at that moment. Can you share? You shared in December when you were here some really incredible things that you did in your own personal space in your home.
Mhm.
Because I believe when your children were smaller, one of them really had a desire for some things that were tactile or sensorial, or you can explain it much better. But it was so mind-boggling to me how you had transformed your home, and it was little things
Yeah,
that.
just a little bit. Yeah.
Can you share some of those again? And
Yeah.
what was the reason for it? Remind me of that. And then what are some of the small things we can do to create
Yeah,
that
for
space?
sure. So, um, so my house is kind of like a museum. That's one of my friends says that your house is like a museum, but color is important. I think that's the biggest thing. Color is important to me. And
Hmm.
I don't know how I knew that even before going to school and learning that, but like I have all vibrant colors throughout the house, patterns.
Hmm.
I didn't even realize it was, if it affects sensory textures. Um,
Hmm.
to like when you can walk up a stairway and there's texture like dots or something. Pillows, our pillows have a lot of texture to them. I'm not a matchy person. When I say that, I mean color. I mean, yeah, color coordinated. It's a vibe coordination. That
Mm, mm,
makes sense. Plants, love plants. I know my son gets tired of the plants. My daughter doesn't.
mhm,
I'm raising her up to understand the not just the aesthetics, but the how it affects our bodies, how science
mhm,
how plants help us in health. And I was
mhm,
recently reading an article, and she was talking about how we got to get to the point where we don't feel like we need to go to nature to to be revitalized, but nature is a part of our life. I shouldn't have to go
mhm,
to it. It should just be a part of who I am. And so
mm,
it's literally a part of who we are. I've started taking things upstairs, some of the plants upstairs in my bedroom, in my bathroom, plants in my bathroom, paintings, textures again,
mm, mhm,
even scents. We talked about candles. We have
mhm,
sage, we have incense, and I know just being from a Christian background, some people kind of get a little woozy about sage. So if you're not comfortable with sage, I don't have a problem with it. But if you're uncomfortable with sage, candles maybe
mhm,
you find more comfort in. Oils
mhm,
are
mhm,
important as well. I take sometimes I just take peppermint oil and I'll just drop it in the corner throughout the house, especially
mm.
the winter months. But just take
Why? Why in the winter months?
um so peppermint oil in particular is really good for the body with breathing. It helps with now you're making me go in my head space. It
Mhm,
helps first. It helps with clarity for sure. It helps with
mhm,
clarity. On the health side, it kills bacteria, so that
mm,
airborne bacteria. Peppermint oil is really good for. I've trained my kids that even when you start feeling anything coming on, my son will he might not do anything else I tell him. Anything. But you know it works if he comes, not now. Hey mom, where's peppermint oil? So
Love
he'll
that.
go and he'll get a
Hmm.
washcloth and he'll drop peppermint oil on it and he'll rub the bottom of his feet.
Oh,
Because it
that's
is
fabulous.
definitely one of those things that helps when it enters our body, it attacks attacks those things that attacking us. Peppermint oil is very
Oh, I'm gonna go get some today.
cinnamon as well. Cinnamon as well.
Oh.
Yeah, cinnamon as well. And lemon, if you have little children,
Mm-hmm.
babies, especially under the age of 2, lemon will do the same thing as peppermint oil, but peppermint oil can be fatal to children, younger children, because it's so strong.
Mm,
So you can alternate.
interesting. Interesting. Okay. I'm gonna check that out today. I'm like, well, I hope on my feet. My feet hurt. But anyway,
Even lighting too. I'm sorry. Even
no,
lighting.
go ahead.
Our stairways, even though we use it so much, one of our lights went out recently, but our stairways light up when we walk up our stairs. And I right now they're white, but I want to add different colors. So when we're walking, they do different colors. It does something for the brain. Just the
They
color.
light up as you walk on the stairs. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, as we walk up the stairs, we have sensor lights, which is you can get that anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just intentional about getting them, and we have lights where, as we walk up the stairs, where the lights light up on this, not the
That's
stairs light.
so cool.
That's a good idea. The stairs lighting up. That's my next thing. But the lights light
Ah,
up on the stairs.
that's
And,
so cool.
and I remember when I first installed those. Like my son is not Vicky. My son is not really. He's a dude, so he's not really moved by
Mhm.
much. So I just remember him going, "Whoa, whoa." Like so when he has
Uh-huh.
a reaction, that's a good.
Right.
So
Then
yeah,
you know you've accomplished something special.
yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love people cracking up. That is hilarious. So I want to ask you about an example. I was thinking about our topic for today, and a lot of people, like I mentioned earlier, are really going through it, dealing with something or suffering, from something, whether it could be anything. So how, or can you share an example of how we can transform suffering into something purposeful or positive?
Look at Kelly Joy.
Oh, I'm like, what?
The whole foundation of the reason why we're here today is because of your story,
Mm.
the story with your.
Oh, yeah.
And I actually did think about that. I was like,
Mm.
wow, that is an example. Like you yourself are an example of us all being here. And that's where the part of we don't
Hmm.
have to stay in a fragile space. If you would allow me,
Please.
this idea came because I was doing my walk. Yay me, she's consistent, y'all.
I love that.
Every
You
day.
walk every day,
I
every
walk
day?
every day,
That's awesome.
and that remind me to tell you why.
Okay.
I was listening to one amazing podcast called Hidden Brain. I love Hidden Brain, and there was a neuroscientist, Doctor Banana with the O, and he said a statement that made I literally, ladies and gentlemen, I literally stopped while I was walking and went, "Whoa!" And he said, "Human beings aren't as fragile as we think." And I just remember thinking, "What?" And he was like, there are people, we have serious diagnoses that are real diagnoses, and then there are situations where people are being overdiagnosed. Everyone is so, you're going to just fall apart because they had trauma in their life, and we've all faced trauma, and trauma is real. But he brought up scientific studies that said that we are not as fragile as we think. People that pass away, and when they come back to work, everyone's tiptoeing, and you're like, well, I don't. Yeah, and the people are like, they said, well, shouldn't you be home? Shouldn't you be? He used this as an example, and he talked about this woman, and they were like, well, shouldn't you be home? Your father just died, and she's like, no, I want to be here. And I translated that to what we talked about earlier. I want to be here in community where there's safety. I need my community. I don't need to be home isolated. And I think
Hmm.
that's what I'm learning. So going to me, let me talk about examples. So here we go. Vulnerability. I was diagnosed with PTSD at 42. I was
Hmm.
diagnosed with anxiety at age, well, let me go back, at age 15, diagnosed with anxiety,
Hmm.
re-diagnosed, confirmed at 40, and at 42, PTSD. Um, then here we go.
Hmm.
2 weeks ago, I was diagnosed with OCD.
Oh.
And I said the same thing. And I told my therapist,
Mm.
I was like, what? I was like, OCD is, he's like, OCD
Hmm.
is not, OCD can also be,
Mhm.
overthinking, always. And
Mhm.
he's been my therapist for six years, so he knows me by
Mhm.
now.
Yep.
African American man, male, and he's
Mhm.
like, I'm starting to see stuff. Let's go here. And I remember thinking, uh, something else.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I'm already doing what I need to do to navigate what I'm already dealing with. Something
Right.
else. And then
Ooh,
he,
that's so deep. There's something else.
I was
And you're
just
like,
like,
I already
yeah,
have 10 things I'm dealing with, and now this?
now this.
Mhm.
And now
Mhm.
mind you, mind all of you, before he even started alluding to the OCD part, which I was like, I mean, it makes sense now when I had to go study
Mhm.
it. I was like, oh, that makes sense. But right before he said that, he assessed me, which will probably surprise anybody on here that knows me, because it truly surprised me in a way. We did an assessment, and he said, so we're gonna have to move and make some steps for you with depression. And I was
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
me? I'm the life of the party. What are you talking about? He said, and that is exactly it. Usually,
Mm.
the life of the party is the people that I watch.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, I go see students Monday through Thursday,
Mhm.
talking to them and helping them navigate. And you're telling me not only am I dealing with PTSD and anxiety, now I have depression and OCD.
Mhm. Mhm.
And at first, I felt like shattered. Like,
Mhm.
but I know people in my family, like
Mhm.
immediate family, who
Mhm.
have been on depression medication for years, who have been, who had to get extra help with depression. And I just always
Mhm.
said, I'm not going to be that person. I'm going to be da 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 and da 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 da.
Mhm.
I'm not going to, but it has been exhausting.
Mm.
I remember
Yes.
someone said to me, oh my God, you are such a breath of fresh air. And
Yes.
before I knew it, ladies and gentlemen, I said, and it is exhausting being me.
Yes.
I
Mhm.
mean, before I knew it, it came out. I was like, it's so exhausting. Me.
Mhm.
And the reason why it was so exhausting was because I was running from what I didn't want to face, and and which meant I was running from the things that could have actually helped me to deal with the things that were just in my space. And because I was ignoring it didn't mean that it was being helped. And because
Mhm.
I was quiet about it didn't mean it was being helped. Um, and so I had to find my community to
Mhm.
to be myself
Right.
there. And that's why I love my sisters. When I'm having my moment, they let me be me, and they know,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Um, and so I'm learning now that I need my community. I
Yes.
need my community. I need my
Yes.
community to know when I'm having a moment that, okay,
Mhm.
she needs a hug.
Yes.
But when people don't know, that's when people can really judge you. That's why I don't judge people like I used to.
Absolutely.
I deal with. So for me, when I know what I'm dealing with, I can say when I'm dealing with someone else, I'm like, no, that child is going through that because they are ADHD. Oh, that's my other diagnosis. I was diagnosed with ADHD at 44.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that show makes sense. I'm like, that makes a
That
whole
makes sense, right?
so much
Uh-huh.
sense. But now that I know what I'm dealing with, um, I also had to have that conversation with myself that you're not fragile, you're not broken.
Mhm. Not at all.
You're not broken, because that was the first thing. Oh my God, I'm so broken. I'm never gonna be married again. All this stuff going on with me. It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. Um,
Exactly.
these are things that are part of who you are. You've been through a lot, ladies and gentlemen. You've been through a lot, and you're not the only one. And I felt like it was important for me to
That part.
know.
That part. You're not
I
the
wanted
only one.
somebody, yes, I wanted somebody on this call to know if ADHD, I got you. PTSD,
Mhm.
OCD, that's so weird to me still. I got you. Depression, I got you.
Yeah.
So it's like, and I'm still the woman that God has created me to be. I am
Absolutely.
still making an impact in the
Yes.
community. I'm still
Yes.
showing up. While there are some days it is hard for me to show up, but
Mhm.
most days I show up. and I show up not just for me, but I show up for other people. So that's
Yes.
just to remind us that
Yes.
diagnosis doesn't define who you are.
Nope.
Having a moment, like I had a moment a couple of days ago, I wasn't able to get out of the bed. I had to literally lay in
Mm-hmm.
bed, and then I got
Mm-hmm.
myself together. But listen, Linda. Having those moments is our body's way of saying, "Hey, I need you right now." It doesn't mean that you
Mm-hmm.
failed. It doesn't mean because I was like, oh my God, if I'm having these moments, then that means how am I
Mm-hmm.
going to be able to help other people? No, 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 no,
That's
no,
right.
no. It's that's your body's way of telling you, or your mind's way of telling you, you've given so much to the world. I need you to give to you right now. I need you to go lay down. And sometimes
That's
we're
right.
so busy hustling and so busy running
That's right.
that our bodies have to do that. It has to shut us down to say, hey,
That's right.
I need you
That's
right
right.
now. And
That's
that's
right.
all it is. So,
I love everything you just said and can relate on every level and everything you said, anxiety, depression, ADHD. I have a teammate, one of my people who always says, "Did you take your medicine today?" If I'm all over the place, because that's the
yes.
ADHD. And I'm like, "Oh, I didn't. Let me go get that." So, but we laugh about it. And there's nothing, no shame. It's like I have my little pills. I take everything that my doctor tells me I need, and it helps me stay regulated, and I get you. I love when you said when you need a pause or when you can't get out of bed, you might have a moment, whether it's physically or mentally. And that's your body's way or God's way of saying, you need to take care of yourself today and stay in the bed and focus on you. That's so important. It really is. And that's especially when we have so much going on. And many of us are dealing with a crisis, whether it's with our children or with something else. And in the midst of all the crises, we lose ourselves so many times. And sometimes we were talking earlier, I had to say no to a dear friend that was supposed to speak at her event. And I literally had to say, I just can't do it. It's a lot going on right now. Can't do it. It's the first time I've done that in years. And
Yeah.
it was a relief when she responded so beautifully and said, I understand. Take care of you. And I said, thank you. But it took the one piece of stress away that was causing a massive amount of anxiety. And sometimes we have to say no. As people have always said here, a lot of speakers have said no is a full sentence. And it's okay to say no.
Yes, yes. I used that
And
sentence yesterday. I was supposed to speak yesterday at a big conference. I was ready to be there, and Friday my life just turned left, and I was like, wait, my body is doing something,
mhm,
and I was trying to push, and
mhm,
and then my head joined. My body was doing something, and my head joined in and said, "Hey, you don't want to listen to your body? Let's give her a migraine." And I don't have migraine. That's just not something I deal with. And I was like, "What is this?" To the point
yeah,
where I on, and about 2 p.m., I was in bed,
yeah,
and all I could think about was, "I got to be at this conference tomorrow. I'm going to speak tomorrow. What are you?" And I messaged my assistant and was like, "Hey, I don't know if I'm gonna make it." And then he was like, "Well, you rest up and then just make a decision in the morning." And my body said, "No, we're making a decision right
mm,
now. You're not going." And
that's right.
I messaged her and I was like, I so apologize, but my body just won't let me. And she said, "I
Mhm,
understand. Can you join us in October?"
that's right. We'll have
Absolutely.
you another time. Yes,
I
yes.
just gotta know
And it
when.
takes the whole stress away.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that whole thing.
Sometimes.
I was able to sleep all night, and for the most part, all day
Hmm.
yesterday, and now I'm back to
Hmm.
myself today. So
That's right. That's so deep. We have so many similarities as I'm sitting here with my bottle of Excedrin at this exact moment. But I love that. I want to open up the floor before we run out of time because this happens every week. We run out of time and people are like, oh, I had a question. I had a thought. So I want to open up the floor if anybody has a question or a thought for Lisa. She is an incredible visual artist, tactile art, does incredible work with children and Ye's Village, but also just has a breadth of knowledge about how we can transform our lives, whether it's our physical spaces or other things we can do. So, anybody have a question or a comment, feel free to come off of mute. You can hit star 6 if you're on your phone, or you can pop a question into the chat, whatever is comfortable for you. Please feel free to do that. I love this comment. Amen, girl. I love me some you. That is one of your girlfriends, I believe. Alethea, you mentioned her earlier.
Yeah, she's
And
amazing.
Dr. Vicky, yeah, says community is medicine. I completely agree with that. Completely, completely. This Sunday morning call, no matter what I do, it's like, yes, I want to be here. And Dr. Vicky stepped in last week. That's what the village does. And Dee is always here as well. So anyone have a question or a comment, feel free to come off of mute. And it looks like someone just did. Yeah, and speaking today. Someone said, thank you for opening up and speaking today. Oh, that's not, that was, looks like it's a number, but it's not. Well,
I
I
love
want to, oh, go
Vicky.
ahead. Were you about to say something?
Vicky said community is medicine. I think that is so spot on because we know that dynamic of collectivism and individualism
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
how America is more of an individualism community with society where everything is about
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing it on my own. You got to get yours, strap yourself up by the bootstrap, and then you got cultures like Asia and
Mm-hmm.
where they do things together, and they seem to be much healthier because they do things together. And
Yes.
like over here, we're we're on this rat race to be the best, and it's like it's killing us, and it is making
Yes.
us fragile, and it is causing so much health issues, so many health issues and mental health issues. But community coming together, doing things,
Mm-hmm.
having
Mm-hmm.
each other is definitely what's going to help us um,
Yes.
pain and suffering. So I think that's
Yes. And you asked me to come to make sure to remind you to speak about, I think you were talking about walking every day and
yes.
why it was important to walk or to move and the importance of that. So you said you walk. How often do you said you walk every day. How far do you walk?
So I'm so proud of myself. I do at least 3 or 4 miles. So I walk. I walk 5 days a week, and I box 2 days a week.
Ah,
Yes, and
and you
so
walk outdoors or on the treadmill?
yes,
Outside
yes. No, no.
to get the nature.
Yes, you got it. I have to be in nature. Um, it's usually my rule of thumb: no cell phone. Every now and then, maybe twice, maybe 3 times, I've done a quick live, but I
Mm-hmm.
have to make that a practice because that is my time for me. Like that is my
Yes.
time to hear God. That is my time to hear nature. For me, it's something about hearing nature.
Yes.
Science also proves that nature when we're connected to nature, it's just something that does something for our body. Like Vicky said, it's medicine.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
the community of nature. Like we have to understand that we have to be in nature, even if you're just like, I don't like bugs. Go outside and just stand in the sun. Like there is
Exactly.
it is healing in it. And so when
Yes.
I'm walking and doing that brisk walk, it is so necessary. And prior to, which is still kind of weird for me, prior to the depression diagnosis, um, I had kind of gotten away from that. And my therapist
Mm,
said to me, he was like, listen to me carefully. You have no choice.
mhm.
I'm saying that to say maybe someone on here is maybe you are navigating depression. And can I just encourage you? Sometimes it's just getting out and walking. It may not be the only thing,
Mhm.
but it is definitely a part of life.
Mhm.
When I don't walk, I feel it in my body. Like my body.
Yes.
I remember being a kid, we were outside all day. But my
Yes,
mom was like,
exactly.
we had to drink from the water hose because we couldn't come in because my mama say stay outside. But we laugh about it now, but our parents didn't even realize
Yes,
we needed to be outside climbing trees
that's right.
and running around. And now children and adults, we're
That's it right there all day long.
all
Mhm.
day long and our bodies aren't moving and it's not getting what it needs. And so for me,
Mhm.
it's not an option. It's not an option.
Right. Right. So that's something we can all do is get out and move a little bit. I was just talking with Vicky this morning, Dr. Vicky, and we are talking about how important it is to walk and take steps and how there's such a correlation between movement and our brain health. And I didn't know that. She shared that with me this morning. But the connection between, what did she say? How strong your legs are, it's directly correlated with your brain. I
I
thought,
didn't know that. I
well,
didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. So I
Okay.
found out this morning. I thought, okay, let me get myself outside. Like, and really, I walk when I'm in Florida, but anywhere else for some reason, I think it's because being close to the water is very
Oh,
therapeutic.
yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
That
Mm-hmm.
it's just so many things. Like so many. If we go back and just revisit things that we did before technology,
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful for technology, but we can't let it replace nature.
That's right.
We can't. We have. We, we were. We were created in nature. We were created
That's right.
in nature.
That's literally.
So we
It's
have
so deep because we roll over in the morning. I'm guilty of this too. And look at the time on our phones normally, because there's no more alarm clocks, I don't think, anymore. If the phone is everything. And then there's a tendency to look at social, and that is just, that's not good either. And so
yeah.
I think, there's got to be a different, meditation or breathing. And I think having that moment of gratefulness, it's like, oh, I'm awake.
So
I woke
my
up.
morning routine,
Yes, share, please.
so when I get up, when I'm at that space of half sleep, half awake, which I do a lot, and I start thinking a lot,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I start um, doing this thing with my words, affirmations with my word. I start
Mm,
speaking, even before prayer, I start speaking,
mm,
and I'm doing that intentionally because I'm in this season of rewiring my brain. If anybody knows anything about rewiring brain,
mhm,
I'll go deep into there. But when my father started transitioning, I noticed my words started going back into a negative space.
mhm.
My thinking, because I felt like somebody just knocked the wind out of me. Like I believed so much in the power of the tongue. And for me, I literally saw my father speak his healing, and
Wow.
he still died, and I couldn't
Mm,
resolve with that. I couldn't understand, God, why would you allow my father to still pass when he spoke it? I'm gonna, he
mm,
said it, and he still died. And so I was torn with that.
mhm,
So I found my way back. I won't go into deep, but I found my way back. And so now I'm in this season of the first thing I do is I start speaking the life that I want and speaking who I'm supposed to be and
mhm,
not what I feel. I'm not depressed.
mm.
I'm not. I don't do that. Especially with ADHD, one of those things
We
that
speak.
people
Mhm,
always say. We struggle with um my brain here we go. We struggle with certain things, and I'm like, no, I don't struggle. I'm sharp. I'm an
mhm,
intellectual. I'm creative. I'm a critical thinker. And I just start thinking, saying those things that I know I need to say.
mhm.
I start there,
Yes.
and then I get up and again, this is neuroscience. I sit with myself for 13 minutes. I don't know what it is
Mm,
about 13 minutes, but look up
mm,
Dr. Huberman. He's an amazing neuroscientist. But 13 minutes, I sit and I meditate. No phone. Again, I have not picked up my phone. I know, y'all. I have an iPad on my nightstand that is it. I only use it as a clock. Still a
mhm.
digital device, but I use it a clock. But I use it so I don't have to grab my cell phone. So I look
Yes.
at it and I see what time it is, and I sit up for 13 minutes and I meditate. I get my mind to where it's still. And that's important for me as a person who's neurodivergent,
Mhm,
ADHD. It's important for me to train my brain to
mhm,
be still because it helps me
mm.
not be impulsive when I'm moving throughout my day because I have to navigate that impulsivity. And so
Yeah.
I'm constantly, and so if you're a person that says, well, I meditate, but it doesn't work, my mind is always constantly going, that's the purpose. As your
That's
mind
the
is going
purpose.
away, you bring it back. No, 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 no,
Mhm,
come back here. That is
mhm,
what meditation is. And when you'll start seeing yourself more and more and your mind over time, it'll stop running. I've gotten good at it. I'm so good at it. Like I will center and I
mhm,
will feel my body sink. I'm so centered. And then after that
mm.
13 minutes, again, I haven't touched my phone most times.
Right.
I
Most
haven't touched my
times.
phone. I open the blinds and I get that sunlight in my eyes. That's another
Mhm,
neuroscience thing.
mhm,
Or they call it the circadian rhythm, something like that. I hope I'm saying it right. But for the rhythm,
uh-huh.
sleep pattern, I get out in the sunlight, get my clothes on, and I'm out. And I'm going to do that.
That's so good.
I get to that walk where I'm boxing, and that's how I start my morning.
That's fantastic. That's so good. And it's the power of the silence and the quiet and the stillness before anything. And then you add to the mental pieces, the meditation, you add the physical. What a beautiful way to start your day. I love it. And you're in Florida, so it's nice and warm all the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Sometimes.
Florida has its moments,
It
but
has its
it can be a little cray cray, but it's okay. But
And
it's
then we
but
go to
it's
the gym.
beautiful.
We go to the gym with those moments.
That's right. That's right. Or we can do things in our own space,
Yeah.
in the home. So I really love everything you do. Can you share a little bit about what you do with your children and what Yaya's Village is all about? I know you shared before when you were here in December, but I'd love for you to give us a snapshot about that because I think it's so incredible what you do.
Yes, thank you. I think I'll speak more to the middle schoolers. It's important. We do see
Mm-hmm.
from kindergarten through we can go up to 12th grade, but it's looks like we've been primarily in the kindergarten through 8th grade space.
Mm-hmm.
So we use the arts to help students understand self-awareness, self-expression, and self-regulation. That's our foundation. Um, and we do that through drama, dance. We've done drumming. Um, and for our older kids, usually podcasting, music
Mm-hmm.
production. The reason I wanted to talk about the middle schoolers in particular is because I don't want you to think that our kids are coming in and they're just happy to be there, because that's not usually the case of
No.
a. So usually
Mm-hmm.
when we are brought into spaces where they're middle schoolers, they do not want to be in the program. They would much prefer to be on their cell phones. And usually it's mostly because of a insecurity thing. Cell
Mm.
phones, they don't have to engage anyone. Which it always breaks my heart when I ride by a bus stop and I see all these kids at the bus stop waiting for their bus and everyone's on their cell phone. No one's talking to each other. That just
Right.
breaks my heart. And so in our settings, of course, our kids cannot have their cell phones. But not only that, excuse me, they also have to engage. They also have to read. Our big thing is literacy. We
Mm-hmm.
want them to read. So we have a site in particular, an art school that
Mm-hmm.
but these girls did not want to do drama. They didn't want to have to read. They didn't want to have to
Mm-hmm.
engage. And they was mainly because they were afraid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And so we pushed them. They didn't have a choice. It's usually a 9-week program, and these girls are learning their lines and they are building up to their big community showcase. We do serve boys as well, but this particular story is about all girls. And they had attitudes, honey. Yes, attitudes coming in, and we continue to push through. When those girls performed the day of, I remember one of the girls when we get ready to go forward, start their show. She's like, "Why do we have to do this?" And honey, they woke Miss Lisa up. And I told them a story about, and this is why we do what we do at Yaya's Village. I remember before I became Lisa McClendon, the recording artist, I was a praise and worship leader at a big ministry in Jacksonville, Florida. And
Mm-hmm.
I was that middle school student. I knew I could
Mm-hmm.
sing, I had a gift, but I was terrified of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my comfort zone was a support. Every now and then I would lead a song, but I was in the lead. And
Mm-hmm.
our lead worship leader didn't show up this particular Wednesday night. And I remember going to
Mm-hmm.
Shirley, our MD, and I said, "Shirley, Tim's not here." And she looked at me as she did and does still. She's like, "So grab the mic, you're leading." And I was like, "What? Like, what are you saying?" Black comma, right? And she was
Yes.
like, "Grab the mic." And I'm looking at, this wasn't a small ministry. This was a big church. And I'm looking like, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Grab the mic. You're leading." And I was like, "But I'm scared." And she said, "Do it scared."
I love it.
And she literally turned around to grab whatever she needed to grab. And I'm standing there with my mouth wide open. And she said, "Why are you standing there? Grab the mic. Do it scared. Let's go." And I was
I love that. Oh, I
shaking.
love that.
I was
Yes.
shaking, ladies and gentlemen. I was shaking. And I
Mm.
got to the mic. And I got to the mic, to the podium. I had my mic. And I got to the mic and at the podium. And
Mm.
I was
Do
stumped.
it. Yeah.
And I did it. And then the next time,
Mm.
Tim was there. She said, "Lisa, you're doing it again." And I was like, "But Tim's here." She said, "I don't care. Tim's there, but you're here. Grab the mic." And I was still scared. And I kept
Mm.
showing up scared.
That right there. Ooh,
And that's what we teach our students. Show up scared. I don't care that you're scared. Show up anyway. Because what I
that's
told them
right.
before we started, I said, the day's
Mm.
going to come. And what you really want to do is going to be here, and you're going to be here, and fear is going to be in the middle. And you're not going to be able to
Ooh,
get what you want to do until you get through fear. And
that's right.
that's why we're here.
That's right. Ooh,
So it's
that's so
not about,
powerful.
yeah, and so it's not about making the next Taraji P. Henson. It's not about creating the next Beyonce. It's not about creating the next whoever,
Mm.
Lisa McClendon. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
It's not
Absolutely.
about that. It's about teaching
Mhm.
kids how to face their fears. Come up out of them hot hoodies. Yes, in
Yes,
Florida, our kids are in hoodies and it is 110 degrees because it's more about safety. People want to know why. That's why.
that's right.
It's about
That's
it's
right.
about security.
Hmm.
They
Hmm.
would much rather burn up than engage their community when
That's right.
when their healing is really in their community. So we feel like we're
Mm-hmm.
that first step of helping them take that hoodie off so they can learn to engage. So when they really want to do what they really want to do, they will go through fear to get to it.
Oh, and that's true for life, right? It's true for
Absolutely.
everybody. And I
Absolutely.
love that you're teaching your middle schoolers that at an early age. That's such a blessing
Yes.
because that is it, facing your fear and showing up scared, leaning into the fear to get through it to the other side. That's so powerful
Because
because
one
we
day
all
I
have that.
stopped being scared. One day I stopped being look.
I love that.
I stopped being scared. Is almost when I that's when I became Lisa McClendon, the art. Like that's when I was an
Yes.
artist because the more I kept doing it, it just kept pushing me towards my journey.
Yes, yes. But you had somebody was an angel
That was
working through
somebody had to
you.
somebody had to push me. So that's
Mhm.
what
And so that's what you're doing. You were paying it and you're paying it forward. That same person that did that with you, you're doing that now with all these incredible children. That's so beautiful. Well, I wanted to say thank you so much for being here again and for blessing us with your presence and your wisdom and your beauty and your artwork. That's I'm
ah,
staring at. I'm like, okay, that's all gorgeous. And I know you did a lot of it. So thank you for being here, Lisa, and for such a blessing and for showing up and getting us all to face our fears, right? And to lean into being healthy
yeah.
physically, mentally, spiritually, all of those things. So, any last words you want to share before we turn it over to Dr. Vicky to close us out? You've
Sure,
been
just
so incredible.
community is our safe space. I remember this girl's song. I'm sure you all heard
Mm,
it. It was a couple of years ago. She was a phenomenon quickly on social media. She was saying "I hate people." It was a whole song. She was saying she hate people, and everybody just blowing. Girl, me too. And it was this whole movement. And she even got I want to say a brief record deal for that
yeah.
song.
Hmm.
And can I just say, people can be complex. Human beings are complex, but that's
Hmm.
where our safety is. Like I'm in a complex situation even now, and
Hmm.
just this morning I said, God, I thank you because that is it. Sometimes we find our healing in the complexity. It's the
Yes.
very place that we run from is a place where our
Yes.
healing lies, and I
That's
believe
right.
it is a trick to get us to run from people because we need people.
We need people.
Even the complex people, I'm learning we need even the because I'm complex, but don't run
Hmm.
from complex. Find that community, and even when you find that community, when you find challenges, it doesn't necessarily mean it's not your community. We need
Right.
isolation is not the cure. Community is the cure. Cure.
Community is the cure, and doing it scared. Anyway. That part, those two pieces, community is medicine. I think you said earlier too. Community is medicine and doing it scared. To get from, I love your visual. You're over here, you want to be here, and in the middle is fear. So you have to push through that to get to where you want to be. That's everybody on this phone can relate to that. So thank you, thank you, thank you for being here this morning. We would love to have you back at some point. Maybe lead us in a creative exercise, maybe some sort of creative experience that you can do with all of us. So let's talk about that for the future.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you all for coming on. And Kelly, thank you so much for this space. We appreciate you.
Oh, I'm blessed to be here.
Yes.
Yes, and there's hearts everywhere, and we all love you and appreciate you, Lisa. So thank you for everything you do and for all that you do with our young people and with us. And it's all kinds of love, as you see, love, love, love,
Yes.
love everywhere. Yes, okay, all the animations. Thank you for that. It feels good. So Dr. Vicky is going to close us out. She's actually driving to Delaware because she's preaching shortly, but she's still here. Still shows up every week. So Dr. Vicky, off turning it over to you. And thank
Hey,
you.
Lisa. You were
Dr. V,
amazing.
thank
Thank
you.
you, Kelly. Thank you, Dee. This was just so good as always. And what really sat on my heart was just do it afraid, right? So thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for mirroring for us to listen to our bodies
Yeah.
and respond. So, God, we thank you so much for this is the day that you have made, and we choose to rejoice. We choose to give you glory. Thank you for Lisa. Thank you for her transparency and her vulnerability, for her impact, for her ministry, for her influence. We thank you for the SonRise Project, for Kelli and Dee and the work that we do together here in community, for community is medicine. Thank you because you said when we dwell together in unity, there we can command blessings. And so today we command blessings over our lives, over our homes, over our children, over the work assigned to our hands. We give you glory for all of these things. Thank you for the SonRise Project community, every household that is represented. Now bring us back together again next week and keep us safe and protect us as we go forward into this day, remembering that we can do all things through you because you strengthen us. And that whenever we approach anything that causes us to pause due to anxiety or fear, that you've given us grace to do it afraid. And we give you glory for these things. In your name we do pray. Amen. I love you, Lisa. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kelli. Have a good
Yes,
day,
thank
everyone.
you, Dr.
Love you,
Vicky.
Dee.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Vicky. Thank you, everybody. We'll be back next week at 9 a.m. Eastern. Thank you. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Thank you so much.